Welcome back to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. Quick note before we dive into episode 2 of Loki. Last week, I completely forgot to mention Sylvie's arrival at McDonald's in episode 1. I'm not sure that it was post-credits or just tucked at the end, but either way, it's a moment worth noting because it leads right into where we're headed this week. All right, let's talk Breaking Brad. Any Breaking Bad fans out there? So here's my instant reaction. Okay, right away, this episode feels a lot more like classic TVA Loki from season 1. And it's still building, but there's momentum. A lot of groundwork laid into this episode. I love how Loki and Mobius team up here. Classic chemistry, understated comedy. They're my new favorite duo in the MCU. We got Deadpool and Wolverine to compete, but I think the chemistry and the fact that we just got Owen Wilson in the MCU, it makes me really happy because he's phenomenal as Mobius, as well as Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Classic, amazing. Some of the scenes he hit in this episode were just some of the best acting I've ever seen him do. The TVA hunt for Brad Wolf gives us a tighter, almost procedural vibe for this episode. We finally get time with Sylvie. We saw a glimpse of her, and a part that I missed clearly in the last episode. But her choice to work at McDonald's, that's oddly wholesome. It fits the tone of the show. And when Loki sees Sylvie for the first time, the music playing is the same as last season, and it's a very special soundtrack. Shout out to the soundtrack for this show. What struck me most? The tone. Not huge reveals, not high-stakes multiverse collapsing. Yet. However, we do hear OB in this very episode say, "We're all going to die," which at the very front of this episode, I want to say the thing they were trying to prevent, the multiverse being exploded by the rogue TVA, I wonder if that actually buys Loki and Mobius a little more time without realizing it. And you'll know what I mean once we finish the show. However, in Breaking Brad, we're tightening the threads. We're setting pieces in place. Sometimes the TVA stories move a little slow, but that's because they're winding up for something really big. Okay, let's break down more of the episode, highlight some of the key moments. Brad Wolf, centric to this episode, his other name, TVA name, X5. It's a reveal that he is an actor on the Sacred Timeline, and he's doing really well for himself. This Breaking Brad plot isn't just a fun title, because Brad choosing to live out his life as a movie star, that's just perfect TVA commentary on free will. Whoever plays Brad, I don't have his name at hand, he plays the part really well because I don't like him, but I also am touched by some of the things he says to Loki and Mobius because he goes pretty deep. So I like the complexity of this character. His tension with Mobius, that's pretty much the heart of the episode. The interrogation scene, oh my goodness. Gold. Mobius holding back his frustration and Loki stepping in to really break Brad. And it takes a little time for them to go to those levels. A little bit of pie. Pie question. 1. Mobius didn't know where they were when they entered the pie room. 2. Why? Just why is there only one kind of, what is it? Pie. Key lime pie. Why is there only one? Like, just key lime pie through the whole room. What's going on at the TVA? Might be the most confusing thing ever. Do they just live off of pie? And then Mobius goes to McDonald's later and he gets an apple pie. He loves pie. Let's talk about Loki's magic this week. He's in control now. Confident, authoritative. This isn't season 1's desperate variant. He uses fear, illusion, intimidation, but not cruelty. There's a purpose behind it now, and that's growth. I mean, what he did to Brad, was it cruel? Maybe a little bit, but Brad was being mean, and he wasn't giving them the answer they needed to do their job. So that was an extreme measure that paid off, and I don't think it was horrible. Loki, terrifying Brad into giving Sylvie's location. That's peak God of Mischief energy, but with a mission. And Tom Hiddleston, such a great actor. When X5, Brad goes in on Loki's mom, and how he failed, and the delivery was so good. You're a villain. Like, that hit. And I really feel like he struck a nerve with Loki and Mobius. He really gets in their heads. Now, Sylvie's choice. Let's talk Sylvie working at McDonald's. It's not a joke. It's peace, and it's what she fought for last season. Love the subtle heartbreak in her realizing that she'll never truly escape the TVA's shadow. And her refusal to help makes total sense. She wants no part of this anymore. She just wants to live a life. However, you can't run from time forever. She's a part of this, and I think she might be realizing that at the end, last scene. It takes a minute for me to realize what she is holding, but it is what I believe to be the He Who Remains tempad, meaning it might have some extra powers / portal capabilities. I'm not sure if they go into that, but I think that's pretty cool that that's the thing that she's using. It looks different from all the other tempads that they use to go to the different universes, so I wonder. General Dox pruning timelines on a massive scale, it's brutal. We don't get to see the lives, but 100B15 reminds us those are lives, and they're disappearing. That ending and all those branches collapsing, lives erased, it's chilling. It's easy for someone like He Who Remains, maybe, or whoever has been in power here the longest, which was He Who Remains, to just be numb to that inevitable death of all the pruning. However, our characters may not realize this yet, but it sets up the real threat of the season. And it's not Kang yet, but the TVA itself imploding. Okay, so MCU impact predictions. This timeline crisis deepens. The TVA structure is crumbling. The loom, it's still unstable. But I did say something at the beginning of the episode I want to reemphasize. I think Dox's plan to destroy all the extra multiverse timelines, it bought Loki and Mobius more time. I truly believe that. Because they were about to die. Obi even says it in this episode, but he doesn't have that type of urgency. It's still happening, but now they have time to go find what they need to find from He Who Remains variant. It feels like we're heading towards another reset or collapse, and that something catastrophic is coming. Now, Sylvie in this episode, her role moving forward, she's not done. She really can't be. Whether she likes it or not, she's tied to this. Expect her return to be big. The TVA, Kang, timelines, they'll all force her back into the fight. Let's talk a little bit about Loki's leadership. Isn't Loki just really stepping up this season and just throughout this show? I love the reference when him and Mobius are eating pie to the Avengers and how he used the Mind Stone. Hey, he knew it was the Mind Stone too in that staff to take over Tony, and it didn't work, and then he threw him out a window. It's good to remember and reference that this Loki came directly from post-Avengers. He learned about the rest of his MCU life in the first episode via Mobius, showing him on their time projectors, which I'd like to get myself one of those. And slowly but surely, Loki is not just following orders anymore. He's making decisions, and he's leading. It feels like we're watching him become something bigger than just a variant or a survivor. Just like a very ultimately perfect version of Loki, in my opinion. I really do appreciate how Mobius has a big part in this season and the show, because I loved him so much in the first season. I'm a big Owen Wilson fan. I grew up watching him in a lot of movies, so him being in this show is really special to me, and I can only hope that he makes an appearance in Avengers Doomsday. Mobius used to be the mentor figure. Now Loki is stepping up into more of an equal role, so they trust each other. And this episode shows Loki is taking the lead more than ever. But I love how they work together, and they even trick us in that Loki locks Mobius out of the room and he tortures Brad. And honestly, I don't like torture, but Brad was being so mean and horrible to them. To see him get a little bit of that medicine, it was satisfying. Now, would this shift cause tension later or bring them closer together? Time will tell. We still have 4 more episodes to discuss. I have seen them all, but it's been a while, and wow, I'm not surprised. I'm still calling it my favorite show because every episode I remember why. There's also themes of free will versus control here in this episode. Brad isn't entirely wrong. He's just very rude. Brad Wolf trying to live his own life in the movies. You know, he don't want to leave that life once he's found it, so he abandoned the cause, and I find that totally relatable. Sylvie working at McDonald's, General Dox trying to enforce order, free will versus control. How does Loki fit into that? Well, he's the god of mischief, but now he's fighting to protect timelines, not destroy them. So special. because we know how bad Loki can kind of be from the Loki we knew, but this is 100% turning into a different Loki, a Loki that the other Loki was capable of being, obviously, but these trials and tribulations in this series really form him into like a way better person. And there's a lot of parallels to Loki season 1, which I really do appreciate. They do feel like one big show, and we got that George Lucas line, it's like poetry, they gotta rhyme a little bit. And remember how season 1 Loki really just wanted answers and he wanted power? Well, now it's the opposite. He's working to save people, even timelines that he doesn't even fully understand. This feels like full circle growth, and it's what makes this show so amazing. And I think I've said that like 10 times. Could this lead into a reflection like Loki's learning that saving something is harder than conquering it? Loki has a lot of time to reflect and to prove himself. From the very beginning of the series, Loki has been in awe of the TVA, and to know there's just another empire out there in a realm above Asgard, something else to conquer in season 1. Now it's just something more to save. Okay, so closing thoughts. I guess it's a bit of a quicker episode. I like to make my episodes exactly as long as I feel like they need to be, so this one's just a little bit shorter. I used to think I needed to make every episode like an hour because I listened to like a few podcasts that were like that. I'm learning that shorter is a little bit better for us here at Marvel Maniac, and it's not going to stop us from doing a 45-minute episode after the next Avengers or even Fantastic Four if it calls for it. So this wasn't just the most explosive episode of Loki, but it was necessary. It's one of the big advantages we get from having stories told on Disney Plus, and Loki executes it perfectly. That's why it's going to be a part of the next Avengers movie, and you need to watch this show. Convince your Marvel friends to watch the show. They won't regret it. It's a good show on its own, but it's also setting everything up. It sharpens the stakes, this episode, and it reminds us that the TVA isn't just about timelines. It's about people trying to hold on to control in a universe that refuses to be controlled. We're heading somewhere big. I could feel it. Can you feel it? So thanks for listening to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a review, share with your Marvel-loving friends, or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/MarvelManiac. You can support the show and minisodes every Saturday at 5 a.m. I'm loving making them, and our Patreon, Michael Finney, he gives great feedback. If you want to go talk to somebody awesome and knows about Marvel, he's a perfect guy in our community. Patreon.com/MarvelManiac. And of course, my other new show, Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show every Saturday at 10 a.m. for all my Potterheads out there. Thank you for being here for all time, always. And until next time, Avengers, disassemble.